All right, good. Now we can. Thanks, Timmy. It's 21:10. It's Hawaii football, and I was just warming up my voice, so I was just doing, exercises. Or you could read lips, and you could have heard some of my early analysis where basically I was saying San Jose State seemed to be in control most of this game, but right now Hawaii football making a game of it. That last drive, obviously, I would have loved to see some points get out of that drive. I thought, they were moving the ball pretty well, and Chevin was starting to get in a little bit of a groove. But clearly this is not a good game for Chevin. This hasn't been something that he's been able to not yet start to get comfortable with. And I think Chevin is going to continue to improve as the offense continues to kind of mold, because you still see some of those wrinkles put in. Obviously that big tight end coming in, and they noted that, and I love having that tight end. I love having that formation. It was really helpful. You see some of those formations having an extra blocker or giving Chevin time. He has time in that pocket. He can make some plays. That last one he just overthrew, and his receiver and that pick was the first turnover, the first takeaway for San Jose. So first turnover for the Bows. So 2 turnovers. Obviously San Jose giving one to UH earlier. But some drops as well and some bad errant throws. I think Chevin has been playing a good season, and I think he's a leader of this team and somebody that needs to really, be the guy that everyone looks to every game. And it's not easy. I'm not saying that it is, but this is one of those games where it reminds me of how Cole used to get off the slow starts and overthrow guys and just not get in the rhythm. So I think Chevin is starting to get into it a little bit, but clearly he is a little bit razzled. But as he gets more time in the pocket, he's been able to make the most of it and be dangerous, or the fear factor, as Robert Kicaldo put it. If you're watching the telecast, the fear factor of Chevin Cordero. But with that being said, Chevin is clearly been somebody that has made his name for a name for himself in terms of a guy that can run, who's dangerous with his feet, but somebody that has shown arm ability, arm strength. He had some overthrown balls. I don't know. I just feel like his accuracy has taken a hit from last season, and even when he's had time, he's kind of overthrown guys. So Chevin, he needs to step it up a little bit. I mean, I think like he's used to the pressure, he's used to criticism, but I think at this point, it's important. He needs to make some of those throws. He needs to, show his teammates that he can lead when the chips seem like they're stacked against the team. Which at 21-0, it seemed that way. That's for sure. But clearly, that's changed a lot. Hello, everyone. Thank you for tuning in. Okay, thank you everyone, Marlene, everyone, Timmy, Deanne, hi everyone, Liz, that power in the second half, I think, Deanne says second half, they're going to give me my $69.99 worth. I sure hope so. Thank you, Deanne, and mahalo to all the true fans and not to say you're not a true fan, obviously, if you don't get the pay-per-view, but I'm saying the pay-per-view is a huge expense, so I think if you get it, that's awesome. Because it's $69.99 is a lot of money. Luckily I'm on the mainland right now, so it's free on the mainland. You can just get it on your phone. I think it'll be able to work on. If anybody has it on Roku TV or Android TV, let me know if they're watching it that way, because I know you can, or because I know some people are just mirroring it from their phone from the app. But if you're doing it from an actual camera, like television or something, let me know, because that's kind of how this is all new to me, obviously. Watching games on TV. This has been my first year in 5 years watching games on TV and not being there. So I am learning to have to appreciate, I guess, the technology that we have. But this touchdown play, I like the I formation. I like the offensive call here. I really think that Coach Kenny and Steven Tsai talked about this. If you're listening to my show every Wednesday, hopefully you're watching our show. I always have a good show and bring a guest on and preview the following week's game. But Steven Tsai talked about Coach Kenny, I think, making adjustments to the offense and really working hard there and putting some wrinkles in. And I think we see some wrinkles. Every week, I'll say it consistently, whether the offense is looking good or not so good at all. I feel like they're trying new things. I feel like they're trying to add new phases to the offense. And, you know, it's going to take a little bit of time. We'll probably take till next year to get a real flow of this offense. And even then, you know, when you're starting kind of from scratch with a new offense and some new players, it's difficult. But, you know, Shevin, he needs to get all the help he can get, too, from his receivers. We had some drops. Panoke had a drop. Bussy had a drop in the end zone. You know, those are balls that, you know, are going to help your quarterback out and have it keep his confidence. So, you know, those are something that we can look forward to, I think, in the second half. But when we go over and look at Shevin's stats, 13 of 22 for 120 yards, you know, still over 60% completion rate. So not terrible, but not super comfortable, right? Some of those throws, he had a pick. He had a throw that was out of bounds at Jared Smart, which he had a lot of time. The Jared Smart play is one of those where I think Shevin will definitely want it back because he had time. The line gave him time. His extra additional blockers that were non-lineman blockers in the backfield, they gave him time. You know, and you know, that's what happens. Liz Kawhi says, try listening to games on stream, Radio Imagination Football. And yes, that's also a way you can listen to the game as well on the radio, and that is actually free. And for a lot of people, that's the way they consumed the games in, you know, yesteryear. So you can just use your imagination and just think of Aloha Stadium, and it's sunny, and the lighting is good because there's actually, like, you know, it's earlier in the day. There's not like crazy, you know, there's no crazy like shade kind things on the field like sometimes you see in those late afternoon games. So this is, you know, a new time for the team to be playing too. This is all new for them and all new for all of us. So I think that's something that people also need to, like we said, give time for the team to adjust to this year, the pandemic. It does seem that San Jose is, like I said on my show on Wednesday, going to come in super fired up. They're a team that definitely is not messing around this year. They need their respect and they want it. I mean, the game against Boise was their chance to make a statement. And now they want to use today's game as a chance to make a statement. You know, and you need a statement game if you want to make that next leap. And San Jose needs, they can get an undefeated season out of this year, whether they play only 5 or whatever games. That's still big for their program. It's still something they can hang their hats on for next year. So this is not a team to take lightly at all. And they came out on the first drive and just gashed us. I mean, that secondary, our front line, our you know, the middle area, our backers, the War Dog guys, or whatever defensive front we're in, it just seems like San Jose is finding the right spots and abusing us in some plays. They also have athletes. You know, that's one thing about San Jose that we don't necessarily always see, and not to say it's not to downgrade their athletes, but they have like really great athletes that can make really great plays. And oh god, I'm trying to bring a light over here so you can see me better. And I think like that is something that is not necessarily what we normally see from San Jose, right? We don't normally see guys who are like, oh wow, that guy's like really fast, like that guy's like a legit stud athlete. And we're seeing that with their with their running backs, with their you know, their receivers, their quarterback is playing well. I mean, looking at their stats, you know, they obviously just had to hand the ball off a lot, but they are racking up a lot of yards. While Robinson, who is a pretty stud athlete, I mean, he doesn't have the most yards. This is just a scary team. It's like, feels like we're playing San Diego State, like a San Diego State type of team. And this is a team that is a really good team, like I said from before. And I think it'll be a big win as well for UH if they can pull this one off. You know, I mean, we say things like, oh, you know, it's whatever. It's just another team or it's just another game. But even for UH, they have to make a statement every time they play, because not only the season is on this line, but team recognition in the island, fan support in the island. Like we talked about this if you're listening on the podcast, right? I just dropped a new podcast called The Real Ones Podcast. If you guys go and check it out, I bring on some of my closest homies and we talk about one topic and we bat it around and we give you our true you know, our feelings about it. And the first topic was Mackenzie Milton. We talked about Mackenzie Milton and, you know, guys like Mackenzie who are talented, who will have schools like UH and Group of 5 schools on their prospect, on their, you know, their list of, you know, prospective schools that they might be going to, but they ultimately choose another school. So why is it sometimes that happens? And a lot of it is because the team isn't consistently successful or consistently marketing its project. A lot of it is marketing, right? Making our product attractive to people, to new customers, to new consumers, or to people that love football, especially. You know, that shouldn't be hard to bring people over who love football. You know, because this is a team, this is a Division I team that they can get around and rally around. But this is the kind of games where, when we're on the fringe, almost, you know, like, you know, Kikala said at the beginning, right? This is one of those games that can guarantee a non-losing season, which is a funny way to say you won't have a losing season, but yes, a guarantee of a non-losing season, and that is big, right? On the first year, you don't want to have a losing season as a coach, and you know, a lot of people still give you a pass for it. Obviously, you know, nobody's going to be like expects Graham to win the Mountain West this year, even though we were in the Mountain West Championship last year, so it's not like we took a significant hit, especially with so many returning starters, especially with the returning O-line. Obviously, there are some talent gaps that needed to be filled, but I don't think we were positioned for any worse than midway of the pack in terms of if you know, Rolo had stuck around or something. So, you know, a 4-4 year of 8 games would be a good year and a solid year for a first year, especially something hard like this. But you don't want it to be 3-5. There's a big difference between 3-5 and 4-4. And there's a difference between 5-3 having a winning season. So they're in that position right now. 2 games left. You can either go 2-2. And that's hopefully there's a game next week, because if you lose this game and you go 3-4, you might not have a chance to play next week. So there might not be a game because of the virus. So you might not end up 3-4. So that's not what you want. You don't want to have a losing record at the end of the season, no matter if it's 3-4 or 3-8 or whatever, you know. So that's why that was brought up too. Shane says deep throws. Yeah, those deep throws are you got to connect. So positive thinking, as Shane also says, yeah, positive thinking on those deep throws, and those are not like it's out of Chevin's wheelhouse. Those are definitely places, you know, plays that Chevin can be successful in. Just not hitting them, just plain and simple. And you know, I gave Cole had a lot of errant throws last year and just had some really bad throws, and some of Chevin's look like that. Some of Chevin's just look straight up bad. So he needs to fix that, and he'll take responsibility for that. I know he will, and he'll come back. But not some plays. Just this is really a season I've seen Chevin really uncomfortable in certain places, and then very comfortable sometimes. It's like it's all about building that consistency, and it takes time. This is a new offense, and Chevin is having to develop even more. He has a huge skill set already, but there's always more, right? You want to be an elite athlete, you have to just do the extra, do the next, and for Chevin, he'll be learning this offense, and I think it's helpful having a tight end for him, an extra guy to block. I am a proponent of the tight end. I think it's always good to have a guy that can block or, you know, go out for passes. You know, Tony Gonzalez is one of my favorite players of all time, one of the best tight ends of all time, if not the best tight end of all time. Just guys, you don't have to be at that level, but you know, you can definitely convert some guys who are super tall, guys with hands, guys you can move around. Oh, talking about Derek Thomas. Good to see him on defense as well. One of those guys you can move around, playing tight end, playing you know, defensive tackle. We had him back there again, playing fullback. So I like that spot because you can block. So you get some physical guys. And San Jose has some big tight ends, right? They got some guys that are just monsters. So I like that about it. Let's, you know, from the very beginning, let's see, San Jose went touchdown, then we punted. Right, last year in our game we didn't punt one time. Neither did they. The only time, right? Some crazy stats. One of those crazy. That is a crazy stat. No punts in a game. Also a crazy stat from last year. When we talk about winning, is UH did a good job of winning last year. 10 wins, 10-5 last year. That's a great season, and still, you know, we had problems attracting fans, new fans. You know, there's always going to be issues if you don't have the full package with the product. Then I think UH is still locking there, but the winning is still important, and the winning needs to happen this season as well. Every game is important, and sorry, I don't know how I get from going on each drive to talking about winning, but I think this game really does prove that we did come in with some high hopes. I mean, let's be honest. And I talked about this last year. I talked about this every week because college football is kind of week to week. NFL is a week to week league, right? People are high on their teams. They're like, yeah, our team's the best, and they have a really bad loss, and they're like, oh, my team sucks, man. We're never going to the playoffs. And that's kind of how this team has been to us this year too. And obviously the record speaks for itself at 500, right? We're looking at a team that can look really good at times, the first game of the year, and just look really bad. And that's not unusual for a team that's learning a new system that has to break in a new coach. So we shouldn't have to worry about there. But this is our chance to seize the moment, right? Seize 3 halves of football left. This half, they got to come out and do well. Does anybody know if we won the coin toss? I didn't remember if we won the coin toss or not, or we lost the coin toss. I have to look for that. But we went touchdown. They went touchdown. We punted. They went touchdown again. We punted. They went touchdown again. We punted. 3 touchdowns, 3 punts. So they scored 3 touchdowns. We punted back to them 3 times. Finally, they punted, and then we punted. Then they punted, and then so the team was starting to tighten up a little bit. Punt, and then we threw a pick, and then they threw a pick, and then we scored a touchdown off that pick. So that was huge, scoring that touchdown off of that interception. I mean, Isaiah Tufunga. If you're watching the broadcast, Rich Miano had a really good segue because he was talking about local boys and how important it was to have St. Louis boys and Mililani boys. Talking about Mackenzie Milton, right? When I talk about him on the podcast, and guys, his teammates and Chevin's teammates, and Chevin and Mackenzie are basically, you know, contemporaries, but we need some of those guys to come to UH. Always. We always going to need to have that pipeline, especially from places like St. Louis. That's obvious, right? One of the best high schools in America. You need to, and they're in your backyard. They're literally in your backyard. You could throw a football. Somebody could probably throw a football from UH campus to Kalaipohaku. You know, maybe not. I don't know. Probably. And it was a perfect moment for Isaiah Tufunga there to make that interception. So sometimes things just work out that way when you're on TV as well. Does anybody know? San Jose with the LA Rams colors. They do. Looking better though. The last interception, dumb call, terrible throw. Yeah. Shame. Bolieve. That's right, Keone. Bolieve. Well, I don't like not having the ball first. I always prefer to have the ball first. You know, just because even if you don't score, at least they didn't get to score in the first possession. It just always sucks having the team score in the very first possession of the game and when you're on defense. So I'm assuming they won the toss, but looking at the comparison, our leading rusher has 20 yards. That's Reed, and their leading rusher Nevins, 116 yards and 2 touchdowns. The first time he ever scored 2 touchdowns in a game. He did it in one quarter. And Melky Stovall, good to see him. And he's been getting a lot of targets. I mean, 6 receptions, but how many times has he been targeted? He's been targeted quite a few times. So looks like he and Chevin are starting to develop their rapport with each other as well. So that's good. I'm trying to see who won the coin toss. Isn't it? Where are you seeing that? Let's see. I don't know. Well, because I felt like it's bocce and that. We did that in Wyoming. We did that in some other places, and I feel like you got to take the ball in the first half. But we'll see how the second half goes. Did it get started yet? Let's see. I'm watching the Team One Sports app. Let me know where you guys are watching, how you guys are watching or listening. Let me know in the comments where you're listening from, where you're watching from. We're going to have some new content. I'm excited. If you look at Hawaii Sports Fans channel on podcasting or, at the YouTube, we're going to start to add a lot more content, and hopefully you guys will all be a part of that in some way as well. So definitely keep connecting with me, stay connected with us at HI Sports Fans, and hopefully we'll have another tour coming up pretty soon. Of course, the Super Bowl is coming up, so if some of you want to go to the Super Bowl, I believe there will still be fans in attendance, and they are, but you never know. Everything is week to week at this point. But I plan on being there if you want to go. So let's go. Let's go to the Super Bowl. But for the game, Hawaii football, 10 points. Could have been another dent at the end. I could have gotten at least a field goal, I thought, at the end. But, whatever. I'm happy they're taking shots downfield. I'm happy they're starting to swing it around. You give Shevin time, he'd do some stuff with it. And I think a lot of these teams are playing us really well. I mean, we've had a pretty good schedule. I think above average for only playing a conference schedule. It's been every game has been a tough game. Let's be honest. It's not like New Mexico was like, supposedly the worst team that we played, and they were a tough team too. They scored on their first possession too. That's another one. They scored on the first possession. How's it, Dwayne? From Big Island. Awesome. I'm glad people, all the islands are tuned in. That's awesome. Yes, they did have the ball first, Marlene, for sure. So we will get it in the second half, which is great. So I do like that. Obviously, I'm glad that when you defer or you, if you lose a toss or whatever, and you have to, not get the opening kickoff, at least you get the second half kickoff. I just like the opening kickoff in that it kind of sets the tone for the game. And when you are the underdog, literally, if in the betting worlds, which I don't like to have to reference too much, but the people who set bets and set lines do a pretty good job most of the time, right, of telling us how close the team should be. San Jose is giving up 2.5 points right now, so clearly they're probably over, but Hawaii, we're second half, so maybe this is exactly where they expect it to be, and they expect our second half to come. Marlene watching from Ottawa, Canada. How's it, Marlene? Aloha. Today is Coach Graham's birthday. Yes, we'll get the win. So, aloha now to Coach Graham. Our, our first time having... we'll have a birthday during the season. I don't know, but it's kind of cool. Hopefully, we'll be able to give Coach a big birthday win. It would have been great to be there in Aloha Stadium to be able to celebrate the teams coming out. But if you saw us on Instagram, go check us out, HI Sports Fans on Instagram, HI Sports Fans on Twitter. But I posted this morning Kelly, of course, our friend Kelly, our favorite cheerleader. He's the one with the big high Hawaii, the big flags at all the games. I mean, the kind that you would have on top of the state capitol kind. Probably bigger than that kind. I don't even know. His flags are like gigantic. I don't know if they have to make them at like flag factories or something, but somehow he'll, even if it's a huge flag the size of a room, he'll manage to be able to wave the whole thing. And he has been greeting the team, him and Brian and his partner Brian and all the people, and some Glenn and Edie and all those who are just a true hardcore, get a chance to get a glimpse of the team. So mahalo to all of them for making their way to the stadium, to Halava. Don't gather. I'm not telling people to gather or watch the games outside the stadium, because that's a deterrent, obviously, from that. But there's not many people there. But it's nice to see that you can still have a little bit of fan support at the games for the boys, because of course they want to see the teams. All right, we have the ball. All right, Shevin on the fake. Wow, we're driving down the field, so it's legit in the third quarter now. We're moving the ball downfield. Clearly, this is I missed 5 minutes, so you guys have to catch me up to see what happened. What happened before in the game? Let's see. Oh, we just scored a touchdown. Hell yeah, buddy. Touchdown, Hawaii. Rico Bussey making up for that drop earlier. He would have had another touchdown, but nice for him to get that touchdown. Great throw, too. A great drive for the Bows. That's a lot of plays. We had a Cordero run. We had a Cordero pass completion for 5 yards. Pass completion for 4 yards. Calvin Turner with a run. So another first down. Just inching our way up the field. Calvin Turner had that incomplete pass to Jared Smart. And then, Shevin going to Rico. Finally, in the end, big play, and we're going for 2. Oh! Oh no! What happened? What happened? What did they call? Sorry. Clearly, there's like a little bit of delay for me too. It's funny. All right. Well, it's not halftime anymore, so go watch the game. But at least Hawaii football has scored 21-16. Take care, guys. See you after the game. Aloha.